Thank you for joining me again, Bruce. Over the past few blogs, we've actually spoken about how much being overweight has affected your life and the benefits that you've actually gained by following the one-to-one diet, and how you've actually been able to reverse your diabetes. Today, I would like to talk about how you've managed to keep the weight off this time.
Well, it's been relatively easy. I've managed to keep the weight off by following the maintenance program. This helped me gradually to introduce some of my other favorite foods, but basically it's eating proteins, natural fats, and certain low carbs. I still have to watch portion size so that I don't regress my previous giant plates of food like the honey monster.
So what type of foods can you eat now, and can you still have all your treats that you used to have?
Can't have them all, no, because all day would be treats. I eat lots of protein, fish, chicken, pork, beef, venison and other meats, eggs, dairy including cheese and yogurt, and vegetables that are grown above the ground, and a few portions of carbs like beans and lentils, chickpeas. But these are still weighed to ensure that I'm following the best practice to keep the weight off. I can still have my treats, but only occasionally, as too many would give you insulin spikes and give you a desire for even more treats. When you've had treats, you need to be very diligent for the next few days so that you don't undo all the good work you've already done. In all honesty, I try and leave the treats and general food choices to my wife, as she is much more knowledgeable about any negative effects of eating certain foods. Said treats are okay in moderation, but I do like good quality chocolate or some fresh raspberries now and again.
Don't we all, Bruce?
Yeah, lots of it, unfortunately.
And what milestones stick out to you during all this weight loss journey?
The biggest milestone, I think, was how quickly I managed to get my diabetes under control and how quickly I was able to come off the diabetic medicine. This was achieved with the support of my wife, our Cambridge weight plan consultants, and the diabetic clinic at St John's Hospital. I couldn't have managed to do this without their assistance. 35 days in total to be weaned off both insulin and metformin. I was amazed. I often felt that if someone had said, if you change your diet around, you can control some of your conditions a lot easier. And I know that years ago, I did not try for too long. I just liked eating too many wrong things. And so the medics increased the metformin and insulin. It was a nurse in the practice I attended years ago that said, the more insulin you're on, the harder it is to lose weight. But no one explained the link between refined carbs and fruit and other sugars, so I didn't have the knowledge until 2019. It's been great for me now, though, to be able to go into a shop and buy clothes off the peg that fit me. I've lost 10 inches off my waist and have now discovered that I have ribs that I can actually feel. This was a great discovery after 60 years of being overweight.
And how does it feel to be a healthy man of 73 years old?
Absolutely amazing, really. I'm not so breathless. Some of my friends have now recognized the change in me. Some thought I was ill because of the weight loss, but I soon put them right. I've more confidence in myself and can do some tasks now that had been beyond me. I don't go to shops much, but I still have that urge to buy sweets or things I shouldn't have. And I find my best way of dealing with it is not to go into the shop if I can avoid it. Sometimes if I have to go into the shop, say for papers or something, I only have enough money on me to buy the papers. So as I can't go and add a bar of chocolate to it or a bar of tablet or anything like this, because that thought is always there. And it's trying to make sure I don't do it all the time. I didn't realize the simplicity of changing your diet and checking the best things to eat would have such an effect. I can only express my sincere thanks to all those who helped me so far, and I'm sure will continue to help me in the future.
See, great, Bruce, it's been great to actually hear your story, hear how you have managed it, hear that you can have the wee treat at the odd time as long as you do watch what you're doing and make sure you don't overindulge. And I think that's the main thing, is don't overindulge. And those wee tips that you do have, like going into the shops and only carrying as much money as for the stuff that you need, rather than taking in too much and saying, oh, well, I could just buy a wee cheeky chocolate bar here or there. So having that self-discipline, that must be really good now. And the fact that you're now a healthy 73-year-old, you know.
Yeah. Well, it has made a lot of differences that way. And I mean, I'm still a chocoholic at heart, but it's a bit like an alcoholic. You take every day as it comes, you know, and it's trying to avoid going back to it. It's very easy because when you can go into a shop, and when I used to buy sweets, something like a bar of ice cream will cost you 89 pence. But you can go into some of the shops like Tesco's and they're doing three sweets or three things like that for £1.20, and you're thinking, that's only 40p a bar. And then you think, hold on, 40p a bar and your blood sugar is going to rocket, you know, and then it takes you over a week or so to get it back down. You just think it's no worth it. Also, I would get a blagging from the wife if she ever found out, you know. I mean, when I used to cheat before, I would buy 3 bars in the shop and I would eat a bar before I got home and then say, I bought you a bar of chocolate, dear, and I got one for myself as well. She didn't know it was a three offer. So that was just one of the things I used to do, but I don't do that now, you know, although it's hard every time I go into the shops, especially the one across the road, because the papers is in the same aisle. If you look to your left, you've got the papers. If you look to your right, you've got sweets and biscuits. So you can't avoid them if you're going for your papers. It's why quite often today I'll get the papers when we're going out to the dog field. I'll get my wife to go into the shop and get the papers for me because there's not the same temptation then. I can't go and buy something. And that's what I have to do, avoid it. Just because I know the feelings are still there. No one's ever going to say, I wouldn't like sweets. You know, nobody's ever going to say that. It's trying to eat them as slowly as possible. It's amazing how far you can make 4 bits of Cadbury's last. You know, it's about 15 miles in a car if you just suck it instead of biting them. But it is very difficult, but then I try and stay off them as much as humanly possible because I know if I don't, I'll end up back on the insulin and the metformin, and that I don't want.
And that's the main message. Yeah, that's the main message we need to get across, is that you manage to get away from these medications.
Yes, in 35 days after years on them. Mm-hmm. You know, I wish someone had told me that years ago. Just I like the sort of bluntness rather than sort of pussyfooting around the corners. I'd rather someone says, you're a fat bugger, lose weight, do it this way. I would take more notice of that than say, well, no, you've got big bones and you're pleasantly plump, you know, and you have a cheery personality. It's a load of bullsh, as they say. You know, I'd rather have it straight between the eyes, and then you know what they're talking about.
Perfect. So sorry that this is all we've got time for this week. Next week we're going to be hearing more about Renee's story, which will be great to hear. And you can get a wee rest from talking for a wee bit, Bruce.
Yes, yes. Thanks very much, Lisa. Thanks.
No worries. Thank you again for sharing everything with us, Bruce. Thank you.